of Trustees, those of us who are here. No, you'll just stand from where you are. Yeah. Come on in and we'll start the meeting. Okay, for those of the Board of Trustees, would you please stand? Yay. So I'm Lisa Nichols, the president. Behind me is Carl Jansen, the treasurer. We've got Bobby Bader, our vice president, Diana Messitz, Alexandra Davalon, Scott Salser-Smith is our secretary, Dimitri Durankin, and then one of our advisors, Veronica Wolf, and she's one of our new advisors. Oh, Susan Angelos, thank you, yes. Susan Angelos, our herd catter extraordinaire. Herd catter, cat herder. Great. Yes. Okay, so we're going to start as we always do with a prayer, and we'll invite Reverend Kristen up.
Oh, as the bell tolls. And with each ring of the bell, we are reminded that we are in a beautiful spiritual place together. That this is a community of abundance in every way. So take a moment for just gratitude, pure gratitude. Gratitude for this vibrant place we call Unity, this beautiful space, our facilities, our grounds. For all the years on this ground that we have broken bread together and shared spiritual food with one another. All the way up to this day. And for the wonderful board that we have, for the leadership that's in place, for the solid ground upon which we stand, for all of these things and so much more, for the abundant good of each of you, for the service, for all that you bring, for all that you are, for all that we become. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much. I'd like to invite up to let me start by last August, we had a community event where we all got together to talk about the future of our ministry, and 4 different initiatives came out of that event. And one of them is what's now called the Connection Team. And it's all about welcoming and enfolding the people who come to us both new and who have been here for a while, and just creating that sense of community and connectedness that we all crave and yearn for. And so I'd like to invite up to the lectern the leaders of that initiatives, Suzanne Perry Page and John Rexroad, and they're going to tell us about the 10-minute commitment.
So John will actually start in what we've asked him to do. He's our premier greeter here. He's the person who many of us have first met at Unity, who has come to us and made us feel welcome together with his lovely wife, Linda. And so John is going to tell you a little bit about what it means to him to be in a position of being able to welcome people. And then I'll tell you a little bit about what our team has been working on in the 10-minute commitment.
Well, I don't know when it happened, but somehow I just discovered I really loved meeting people. And one of the things that refreshes my memory as to why I do it is when someone comes back for the second time and I call them by name and their face just lights up. Because it means so much that I remembered. They said, oh my God, you remembered my name. How come? I said, because you're important. And that just enrolls people in the fact that they're truly welcome here and that we care about them. And every one of you can do The other side of the connection thing, which goes beyond the greeting, is one of our members whom I've known for years, and I was here Saturday for the workshop, and we sat face to face and talked, and I discovered I didn't know a damn thing about him. I thought I did. I thought I knew who he was and what he was all about. I was totally wrong. So the 10-minute commitment part, which Suzanne will tell you more about, is about enlarging that connection with the people we think we already know.
So after I talk about this, we're going to hand out pages, and there are two of them. And so when you get this little packet of papers, be sure to take both the 10-minute commitment and a copy of, I don't see touring the campus, but I see the top 7 things you can do now to support Walnut Creek. Oh, okay, so there are several papers, and flip over the one. So we came up with this idea that, we certainly greet people when they come in the door. And then the question is, how do we make people feel welcome as they're waiting out on the patio before a service begins, or it's after the service and they're trying to figure out, do I belong here? And what we feel like is that each one of us, many of us, want to have some part in helping grow this community. We want to help connect others who are seeking a spiritual path. We want to help Unity to grow and prosper. And we want to start locally toward building a better world. And so the 10-minute commitment is something that many of us are saying, I want to join in this, and I want to say that on many Sundays, or when I come to a class or a workshop or any other event here, that I want to take just a few minutes to pause on my visiting time with my closest friends, and I want to meet someone that I don't already know. So the question is, what happens if I can't do it every Sunday? Great, do it when you can. What happens if, is this only to welcome newcomers? Yes and no. It's certainly to welcome newcomers, but it's also to welcome anyone that you don't already know who may still be trying to figure out, do I fit here? Is this my spiritual home? So this sheet then tells you, there's a block here that says actions you can take, and it's from wearing a name tag, which I put on just before I came in here because I remembered finally, and inviting other people to also get a name tag. You don't have to be a member, you don't have to attend regularly, but just having a name tag helps people to become more familiar with who you are. So I'd invite each of you to think about, does this fit you? And do you want to also do a personal commitment to this 10 minutes a week? Thank you.
So yes, they're going to be handing out the 10-minute commitment that just explains, again, what she just talked about. And on the back is example of, if someone's new here, offer to give them a tour of the campus. And it just gives you an idea of what to do. Like, bathrooms are important. Maybe, take them back and tell them about the classrooms upstairs in the education building. And then maybe in them, bringing them back to be introduced to Reverend Kristen, or show them the bookstore. And so that's on the back side of that. And then the other one, I snuck that in there with them, is the top 7 ways that you can support Unity of Walnut Creek right now. And that's for our, as Suzanne said, to grow and prosper. And one of them is the 10-minute commitment on there. And I'll talk about another one a little bit later. So next we are going to go, I was going to have Reverend Kristen come up now.
So I know many of you in this room are dedicated volunteers here, which we greatly appreciate. And we've also got one in this room who has led us in the fall fundraiser for several years, and finally said, I think it's time I, step aside, let somebody else take leadership of that. She also is a co-chair of our Social Action Committee, and she was for some time the head of the Usher Greeter team. I think she first got involved in the Usher Greeter team, and she's on the board. And so when she said she was going to step back from fall fundraiser leadership, I said, well, you know, you probably don't want to add anything else at this point. You're probably wanting to just enjoy a little spaciousness, but I'm just going to put this out there just to see, sort of test the waters. And so I asked Susan Angelos, would you consider being our volunteer coordinator? And I hardly finished my sentence, and she said, sure. Is that not how you remember it? So she's going to come up and tell her version of the story. And then I pulled her in, and I said no. But anyway, she has very graciously said yes, and I'm thrilled because she's already gotten moving, jumped right in. She's planning our volunteer picnic, which is April 28th. And as if any of you have ever worked with Susan on any of the committees she's led, I know I always hear just wonderful words of her leadership and organizational skills. So thank you, Susan, being such a committed volunteer yourself. You are the right and perfect person to lead the charge. Do you want to say anything?
So can you hear me? Yeah. So that isn't quite how I remember it, Reverend Kristen. But we won't go into that. And it's, yeah. And the and one of the things that Reverend Kristen says, all the people who have served with me have good things to say, and I appreciate that for all of you who have contributed to the propaganda. But one of the things that I do subscribe to is it's got to be fun. Yeah. If it's not fun, it's penance, not service. And that doesn't mean that you're going to love every single thing, but it does mean that you need to enjoy yourself. Okay. On to business. One of the things that each and every one of you are dedicated volunteers, and you have helped me in the past in getting other volunteers when I was frantic with the fundraiser. I'm putting together my list of people. So I would appreciate, I have a new group here that John Nichols set up for me, and that is volunteer coordinator at unityofwalnutcreek.org. Tell me what you want to do. If you could have any job, send me an email, tell me what you want to do, and let's see if we can make you do that. That's it. And I will be, there will be more from me. This is sort of my impromptu first impression. Thank you for thinking of me, Reverend Kristen. My first reaction when she called me was that I was incredibly flattered, and I am equally flattered by the reaction that she got when she announced it. So thank you. I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
So she said if you could have any job. I think that excludes Kristen's.
Well, it's up for grabs. We can talk about that. I did want to just add one thing to what Susan said, because it really dovetails nicely with the 10-minute commitment, is also because you are, a lot of you established here for some time as people in sacred service, think about inviting people in. Because that, how many of you would say how you got in, because you got involved here in service is how you built community here. So consider when you're having these 10-minute conversations with people to really explore that a little bit with them. How would you be interested in getting involved here? We got a lot of fun ways to participate. So
that's how I got started.
Yeah.
And that's her fault.
Yes, they'll love and hate you both forever. Yeah. Okay, let's have a financial status update from our own Carl Jensen.
All that stuff that was said at church about me, half of it's a lie. I don't know. That's what you have to figure out. No, I'm just kidding. So, hi, everybody. So what I did pass out to you already, or Scott did, I took our financial statements, and the one that people are so used to seeing, and I have copies for everybody if you want them, is the one that comes right out of QuickBooks. It's small print. It's got account numbers on it. It's got a lot of information. It's got budget to actual and all kinds of comparisons. But I think for community meetings and groups like this, something that's a little more boiled down, same numbers, might be easier for people to go through. So what I created for you in the handout that I gave you is 3 statements. And actually 2 of them relate to 2018 and 1 is for January of 2019. This first guy is called a balance sheet. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail now because I invite all of you and anybody else who wants to come next Sunday at 1 o'clock to meet up in classroom 3. And we'll spend an hour just on financial stuff and really go into details so you can really understand how things operate here financially at this church, at this spiritual center, community. I'm going to get this right one day. I'm too long a Lutheran, and it's been a Lutheran church. And so we can really go into it there, and I don't want to spend a lot of time doing that now, and it would be appropriate. But I will. So this basically this is everything that's on our balance sheet, but I've just kind of put some lines together so it's a little more readable, I think, for most people. The next one is a statement that sometimes in business is called a profit and loss statement. We call it revenue and expenses because we're a not-for-profit. We're not here to make a profit. And the beauty of this thing actually is the little small number at the bottom, 2,088. After all the ups and downs, the left and rights, the appeals for additional support last year, when the smoke cleared, we had revenue exceeded expenses by 2,088, which is really our goal. I mean, if it was a bigger number, fine, but we would quite frankly, find a God, divine way to spend the money in a future year. We're not here to build up a bunch of assets and a big base, but we're also not here to be, oh my gosh, where do we go tomorrow? Where do we go the next day? Because that's not fun, is it, Lisa? No, we don't do that. So there's that, so you can kind of look through this in January, and I did throw January in at the end. In January, I won't hide from it. It's an $11,000, almost $12,000 negative at the bottom. Quite frankly, my review of the last 3 prior years is that is a pattern. That January, we have some expenses, as John pointed out to me, that are one-time expenses that hit us in January that don't recur later in the year, but they're in there. And revenue just drops off in January. Attendance doesn't necessarily. So one could make a million guesses as to why, but it is what it is. But we also know that through our prosperity consciousness and the way this community operates, and with the board keeping their eye on it all the time, things they will take care of themselves, but they'll take care of themselves with some consciousness too as we move through the year. So I have this. I think we should just do questions at the end for everything, right? Instead of doing any just financial questions now. So those are there for you, and I do have copies here for those who love to go through the details. So there's 25 of those, but I didn't want to kill any more trees than I needed to, so that's available to you too. So we'll do questions later. You'll have a chance to kind of cull through it, I think, instead of trying to come up with something profound right now. Okay?
He's way taller than me. So yes, it is a pattern, and my own vision for our community is that at some point that it won't be a pattern anymore. I would love to see our income throughout the year be evenly. We know what our expenses are every single month. It's basically about $45,000 a month. And I would love to get to that point where every month we meet, and then anything over and above that, of course, we get to do extra projects with. We get to expand what we're doing here with anything that goes over and above. So that's everyone hold that vision. Okay, so yes, Carl invited you next week after services. We'll walk through our balance sheet, our income and expenses, and kind of give you an understanding of why that $45,000 is every month, and then how that income flows into our community. So I hope you can be there. So now I have a little bit kind of a facilities update. The first one, of course, was announced at our Sunday services, is the lift has been completed. Yay. It was just the final inspection was Thursday? Yeah, just Thursday. So after this, we will adjourn back to the lift by the playground behind the education center and do a little ribbon cutting and get Mario up to the second floor for the first time ever. Yeah. And so now the other facility item that we really need to take care of is we have a drainage issue around the bottom of this building here that goes down into the office. And so as we've been having these heavy rains, they haven't quite been sitting in a puddle, but it's been quite wet down in the downstairs office. And this has been an issue for a couple of years. We've tried different things like sealing things and everything, and we just really need to do it the right way. We need to have a drainage ditch dug from this side and over and down and put an extra sump pump in. And we have 3 bids. We're working with the one that was the highest, which of course was our favorite, the one that we want to work with. We're going to work with them to see if they can drop their price a little bit because they were they were the highest. So, and then so as soon as we can get that figured out, if it's over $25,000, which we don't think it will be, then we'll come back to you for a vote as required by the bylaws. Otherwise, we'll get that done. And I think they said it would take about 3 weeks? Week and a half. Oh, just 10 days. 10 days. So hopefully we'll get that taken care of soon. And then we'll also need to replace the flooring that was down there, and hopefully get a little nicer office again for Charlene and John and everyone who goes downstairs. So this is the thing, of course, is how do you pay for it? Even if it's $20,000, $25,000. So it's my first appeal of the day. And so if you would like to donate towards this extra expense that we have, please write a check and write down on there drainage, or send a PayPal link, or however, a credit card using the cards behind the seats. What we would love to do is collect $12,000 to go towards the cost, and then the rest we'll pull out of reserves that we have in our Schwab account. So our goal is to raise $12,000 to go towards the drainage problem that we have, and
But we'll accept more.
oh yes, but we'll accept more. Yes, 12,000 or more, or more. Always have to remember the or more. So we do have $30,000 that we set aside for the solar as approved by the congregation last July, and we'd prefer not to use that for something other than solar until and unless we really know what we're doing with the solar project. At this point, it's kind of stalled. We have continued to look at different vendors and different options, and it's just really just not coming together. One person that we thought was going to be great, they went to the city of Walnut Creek all on their own and came back and told us, oh, they won't approve it. We're like, well, why? Well, he never responded. So we went down there, and then the city of Walnut Creek was like, no, we'll approve it. So it's just one of those projects that's just not coming together. And I was going to head that up, and frankly, I'm kind of done. That's the thing, is we all know that it'll come together when it's meant to come together. We will try to continue just looking at, like we did get Reverend Kristen talk to some churches, was it through your group? Pleasant Hill Clergy Group, and got names from 2 churches that put up solar. So we need to contact those people, and we're just going to kind of keep plodding along until and unless it's the right time. In the meantime, the desire is to keep that $30,000 separated out as approved by the congregation. And if we ever do get to that point where we're just going to kind of give up, then we'll come back to you and let you know what that $30,000, what we'll do with that $30,000, or not let you know, but talk to you about it, ask you about it, approve it, whatever. Rick?
So that's for electricity, or for hot water, or what?
PV, photovoltaic solar, right?
Yeah, your photovoltaic stuff. Yeah, electricity.
The solar panels would be PV,
Yes.
not hot water.
Yeah, PG&E.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the $30,000 listed on the balance sheet?
It's in the money that's in Schwab. It's in that $96,000. It's not shown separately there, but that's where it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So those were the facility updates. Anything else, Charlene? Did I miss anything? Okay. Did you want to say something? No? Okay. So the next thing we want to do is invite Bobby up. John, oh, no one's up there. Oh, John's there. Oh, you've got the video ready? Okay, he's good. Thumbs up.
Hi. So what I'd like to do is tell you about how we're spending your money. So this is a picture I have of a student in Uganda that I started sponsoring 7 years ago. Her name is Eva, and I sponsor her financially. She goes to school because my brother and I send money. And this is Eva now. So I've been sending money for the last, it's coming apart, yeah. And this is Eva now. So last year, I had suggested a tithe. I know Kristen had talked about wanting to support emerging nations, the education, especially in females. And we now have a student that we support in Uganda, and I know it's on the back of the newsletter, but how many of you know Shamina, that we support a child named Shamina? Okay, well, we are going to show you. May we show the clip? Is there someone showing the clip?
My name is Nadik Shamina. I've been finishing my senior for, and next year I'm expecting to be in senior faith. Thank you very much for paying my school fees. In this holiday, I'm going to help my mother in cooking food, washing clothes, and gardening. Don't lose hope. I'm promising you that I'm going to get first grade. But I have a question for you. When I come to visit me, I love you so much. Bye-bye.
So Shamina was thanking Unity of Walnut Creek and how proud she is to go to school and thanking you. And she wanted to know, she said, I have one question for you. When are you coming to visit me? And I've talked to the CEO of the village, and we've been invited to come to Uganda. So next year, Pam Whitman and Holly's talking about, and who else would like to come? We're going on a gorilla trek, and then we're going to Uganda to see our student.
So that's a small portion of the tithe that we send out every month. The other tithes go to Unity Worldwide Ministries, the West Central region of Unity, the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County, Silent Unity, and then each month we have a floating tithe that Reverend Kristen will recommend and the board will vote on to send. And it's typically people that have inspired us in some way. It's in some of our musicians or guest speakers or organizations. And this last year, since there were so many events around our country and the world, we did send some money to Unity in Houston after the big hurricane. Was it a hurricane?
We took a collection for that
Oh,
one.
you're right. What was the ones then that we did?
We sent to Puerto Rico.
Oh, Puerto Rico. We sent a tithe to Puerto Rico.
And then we tithed on the fundraiser to Unity of Oroville for the fire.
Yes, and then from the fall fundraiser funds last year, we tithed 10% of that to Unity of Oroville after the campfire last year. So, doing our part. Yes, walking our walk. So my last appeal to you is one you've heard before, and that is to support our Love in Action program. Love in Action started years ago as a capital campaign to help renovate our facilities here, and that worked great, and it has kind of morphed into supporting the mortgage payment that we now have as a result of the renovation. And basically, if we had a pledged commitment for the mortgage payment, the annual mortgage payment, we would be pretty much what's the right word? Solvent, right? We wouldn't. The thing that I said earlier about having where we'd just be even throughout the year, that would pretty much happen. And so we're actually at half of that right now. We have people who pledge to Love in Action and give every month, and about half of our mortgage payment. So if you currently do not, I encourage you to think about that. It could be $20 a month, it can be $500 a month, whatever level you're comfortable with. And as I loved what Suzanne said about we all want to help Unity grow and prosper, and we really always want to support those people who need that spiritual home, who are looking for the place where they belong, who are looking for the place where they can grow in their spiritual self and know who they really are. And that's what your Love in Action pledges help us do. So that was my last appeal for the day, and now we're going to do Q&A. So, anyone have any questions? Michelle?
I'm curious if you have an average of how many people attend per month, and then what the expenses, like if we donated by, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. If you know the average of people that participate in a month per person, and then what would be the offering that we could give so that you would be even if we kind of have an average of that. Because I don't know how much to donate per month, but
we've talked about that as a figure. It's interesting because we talk about, because I know in my heart of hearts that, and I think the whole board knows, the whole church knows, the spiritual community knows, that we are growing, and we're going to grow more throughout this year. You can feel it already. It was January. I know the numbers are up. And so we've looked at that and said, well, if we had this many more people, for example, giving or just attending, they could be people who are already members who didn't used to attend regularly, now they do, and they were giving $25 a month, which, to answer your question, a week, which is about where that average is, that would be a number that would really make a big difference. When I look at it as an accounting person, and I've talked to Lisa about this, that $25 per person per week is a funny number because it's not if everybody kind of gave between $18 and $35, then 25 would kind of be your average. But the reality is some people give $2 and some people give a lot of money every week. And so it can be skewed real quickly by somebody who's on vacation. A couple of people who are bigger donors go on vacation in June, come back in July. Oh, I'm going to make up for June also. I was just out of town for a month. So it gets really kind of messed around. But to give you a number, that's what the number is, about $25. John?
Just a note on that.
Hold on, John. Hold on.
Get a mic.
The best way to look at that is annually, and last year I think it was about $28 a person per Sunday, because when we had 47,000 extra dollars come in the last 2 weeks of the month, it really skews that number. So you couldn't look at December and say, oh, that's what we need, because that was immense. So that's why that report that I put out with the pretty colored columns and all that shows you every single month, and at the bottom shows you for the year. And I think we could make that report available to the congregation and explain next Sunday how it works. And then everyone will be able to see both the attendance, because we track it by service, by Sunday. We track the love offering the same way. All that information is available. And the board does use that regularly in their decision making. So good question. Thank you.
And also, Sunday love offerings are our most significant source of income, but we also get a lot of income from our classes and workshops and fundraisers. In fact, it's on here, last year we almost 62,000 in adult education, 24,000 in fundraisers, room rentals, just weddings and birthday parties and things were 23,000. So, but from definitely love offering and the pledged Love in Action are our two biggest income producers combined. But I think, about $28. If everyone in the room did $28 at a minimum, we'd be good. Yeah, so there was a question over here.
Yeah, actually, I've got the mic, and you got so close to my question. And so my question is this: other revenue is significant when I look at the numbers that are there, and I'm sure it's in the detail report, Carl, but could you give me an idea of what goes into that?
Unless everybody else wants to see it right now, I'll give you I tell you I have the detail sheet. again, when you do these kind of things, you kind of pare them down. I picked the biggest ones, and I said, I'm going to put the rest together. And I don't even want to start reading what they are right now, but I can show it to you. And I have enough for almost everybody here to have that more detailed sheet, which can answer questions like that pretty quickly. But none of them are example. What do we have on here? Adult education. What? Yeah, bookstores like about 10 grand, and for the
6,100, which is for adult ed, that's the 62,000.
Yeah. So I don't know. I can go through them just one sec if you want to.
It's okay. Is that okay? Do you want the?
I'm curious because it looks like a nice big number, and I'm wondering what we could possibly envision growing that's in that number.
Got it.
And I've been coming for a while. I'm like, okay, what else could be in that number? My little brain without lunch couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. But certainly supporting our bookstore is a great way to support Unity. And you get your cards and your books and your gifts. Amazon Smile, yes. If you shop on Amazon, instead of just going Amazon.com, go smile.amazon.com. It's the same exact Amazon, except they donate a small portion of every purchase to Unity. You sign up, the first time. You sign up and say Unity of Walnut Creek, and then it'll just come straight to us. Smile.amazon.com.
Hi. I have a question as to the push pay. Does that allow for you to indicate regular ongoing payments?
You can do regular payments on push pay, yes. I think you can go in and make it monthly or whatever you want. And,
okay.
And while that is available, I will say that is the most expensive source of money for us, fees-wise. And so if you currently give through PushPay, we're very grateful. And if there's another way for you, if it's a regular, if you would just set it up as a bill pay in your bank account, like Bank of America or whoever you bank with, and just go in and have it monthly come out of and they'll send us a check, and then it's zero cost to us. But PushPay, because it's got like a monthly fee and a transaction fee, it ends up being sometimes 7% type of thing. And so we have been looking, we continue to look at what are some other options out there, because we love the idea of providing the texting capability. This one just is really expensive, and we haven't figured out how to replace it yet.
Mm-hmm. Is there the possibility of an online account that we could each have, and then we could charge to our credit card, and it wouldn't be as much as 7%, maybe just the credit card percentage that I know merchants pay?
Well, you can also do it on PayPal.
Okay.
And on the website, if you go to the donate button page, there's a button for donate now, and you can set that up as well. So, and PayPal is much less expensive than PushPay.
Because I wouldn't mind increasing my contribution to cover that expense, because I do get benefits by charging to my credit card.
There you go. Yeah, airline miles and everything, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, and if you take your credit card to the bookstore, is that how you do it?
You can give the number to Felicia. She'll set it up as a monthly.
Okay. Yeah, you can also call the office, and Felicia, who's our ministerial assistant, she can set it up through Square, so it'll be monthly, it'll be using your credit card, and John says that's the least expensive, even less than PayPal. So there are multiple options, and how to do that. Other questions, Laura?
Sorry. This is not so much about expenses, although it kind of is. I'm wondering about the outlook of the children's program and how that's either growing or not, or if we have kind of data on that.
Well, as you may know, we have a wonderful new youth director, co-director right now, and until Lonnie retires in May, Michelle, how do you say your last name? Chikala. I'm going to get that down. Chikala. And so there's a lot of new energy and new excitement back there, and lots of new things coming, like she had the table outside earlier, and we're planning a summer camp in the end of June, and we already have 30 kids interested in attending. We thought we were going to have to go out there and promote, and no, we've got so many already interested. And so I think there is a lot of excitement around the youth program. It is kind of tough because we're at that kind of dip kind of thing, like all of our YOU people, our seniors, they'll all be graduating, and there hasn't been, we haven't had someone in that middle school group, so we've kind of done our dip. As you know, things go up and down, and so now we're going to be swinging back up with this new energy that we have. So I don't know if we have any numbers, right? Not right now.
Typically, it's 28 people per Sunday was the average in December. That includes the youth, the children, and the helpers.
Okay, so in December, our average was 28 people back in the youth program between the youth and the children and the helpers, and so.
Sometimes at 9:30, that little group of kids that comes up here to small one is big.
Yeah.
Our goal is to double that.
And our goal is to double that this year. Yeah. Linda.
Question for the board in general, but definitely for Carl. If we know that we have $11,000 that we are in the hole, what are we doing to change that? We know that we're not bringing in that income, so what happens? Do we take some of that money from the money we've fundraised? We know this is going to happen. How do we plan to not have it anymore?
There's two questions I think you're asking, Linda. One is, how do we cover any dip period in time? And the answer is, thank goodness, we have at this point $96,000. At the end of the year, we had $96,000. We're still $90,000 of what we call current assets. And actually, that was just a Schwab account. Where's my number here? Oh, it's right in front of me. I gave it to Lisa. If you look on the balance sheet, okay, this is at the end of December. Right near the top, you have two numbers added together that are almost $143,000. That's where we stood with. And the concept of current assets means you could get your hands on it real quickly. You could walk down to Schwab and say, we want our money, or I want some money. You can go to Bank of America and write a check. So that was available to us. We spent about $10,000 of that in January because of the shortfall. Okay, so that's how we can cover it during a dip period of time, and that's, thank goodness that we have that, which a lot of organizations that have dip periods do, and then you come back up again. There's a pattern here, and I'm going to talk about it next Sunday in more detail, but it's a pattern that's been going on, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, I agree with Lisa, to have each month match out would be a really nice thing, but we have fundraisers, and we have like the big fundraiser in October. Well, you only have your October fundraiser, guess when? October. And you have your crab feed in February, and the holidays are the holidays, and they come at the end of the year. More people come, more people give. Some people do some year-end giving because it's year-end. Maybe it's tax advantageous to them to give at the end of the year. So those things are going to happen, and you can't, and that's what we're working on, is how can we balance it out? Because in the end, we did, and we always feel, and John always points out, another year in the black, that we come out okay, but it's not a magic act to figure out how to overcome this January dip. I mean, you can't go to people, I don't think, in the church and say, hey, would you not give so much in October but give it now? Like, really, if you know in your heart of hearts you're going to give $1,000, could you load it onto the front end of the year? It would sure help us out. I don't know. That's kind of a goofy appeal to have to make to people. And you can't take and the big lucrative October fundraiser, you can't exactly do it in January and then have the crab feed in February and go, well, that was fun. So I don't know. I mean, that's a challenge to the board and a challenge to the community. How do we balance it out? Because in the end, the reality is it does come out. And there's a summer dip down in June, and then for some crazy reason, there's this big jump up in July. Right in the middle of the summer, July is like three times the revenue or the net bottom line of June. And my only guess is a lot of people go on vacation in June, and they all come back. Like I said before, they all come back in July and say, "Well, I'm making up for June." But it's like our second best month or third best month of the year is July, right in the middle of summer. So things happen. I mean, and so we're doing our best, but there's no magic answer that I have except to put a lot of heads to it, and we'll work on it. And it's not a catastrophe. It's just something you sometimes have to deal with sometimes. It's kind of like I often think if you were a toy company and all your 90% of your sales occurred from Thanksgiving to the end of Christmas, you got to get through the rest of the year. Now, we're not a toy company, and there's things we can do, but I don't have
like to have fun, though.
Yeah, we do. So it's not a magic. I don't know. I'm not knowing no quick answer.
Well, and I will add that one of the ways that we do that is we continue to have excellent programs. We continue to have an excellent ministry. We do our 10-minute commitment so that we get people feeling welcome and engaged and loved, and we grow our ministry that way. At the January meeting, board meeting, we did talk about what did we want to see for this year, and we all threw out a number of what we want our average Sunday attendance to be, and we've got a little contest going. So at the end of the year, in December, whoever has hit the closest, we'll get a prize. And there were like 3 people who said the same number or something, so hopefully it won't be the one that has 3 people, because then I'd have to get 3 prizes. So one of the ways, Linda, truly, is to grow our community. That's the number one way. It does take a little while after you start to grow, because when people first come, they do throw a couple bucks in the basket, or maybe a $10 bill or something. And then as they come and they feel more, they feel the benefit of being here. They have that experience, that connection and ownership of our community. And they also want to allow more people to come in and to bring more people in. They want to support that. Then they start giving more. And so it's yes, we want to grow our community, and we're also very much aware that it takes a little while, that once you start growing, the income kind of lags a little bit. But I think, honestly, my answer is the number one way is to create that community. Ask people to come check us out. Go out in the community and wear your Unity t-shirt proudly. When you see people, engage them and love them. What was the other thing I was going to say? I love what Kristen said about asking people to join you in a volunteer thing. You know, don't just ask kind of generically, where would you like to serve? But, hey, I'm going to be helping with the crab feed. Would you like to join me? It's that personal invitation that is the most effective thing that we can do here. And I just really encourage that. I really do. Ted.
I'm Ted Oliari. I want to share an experience I had here a number of years ago. I came through the door, and there was someone offered me a name tag with a bunch of, pretty colored Sharpie pens, and I put my name on there, and I put my name on my chest, and after the service, I was walking around, and I heard my name. Somebody said, Ted. Hi, Ted. And I'm like, I turned around, and it was somebody, I didn't even know who it was. And I'm like, wow, somebody called my name, and I don't even know him, And I felt so good. And I don't know what happened, but the name tags disappeared. I don't know why, but I think everybody who comes through that door should have a name tag with big letters, and so we can connect to them. I mean, it's a lot easier to come up to somebody and say, hi, Lisa, than it is to come up to a stranger and maybe get ignored. Because I've had that happen too. I've come here and I've tried to talk to people and been ignored, frankly. So whoever is in charge of the greeters, I think it's Mike, is it still, or? Anyway, I'd like to request an action item that we get name tags here, and there was a little thing printed out that said, "We love to connect with you. Please put on a name tag."
Yeah, that's a great idea, and we had what we called scribes back at the time, and I think it just disappeared because of the logistics of it, I think, a little bit. Suzanne, help me out here. Logistics and just lack of interest in doing it, or what? All of the above.
And it is something that our team is considering again, so thank you for bringing that up.
Yes. So for those online, Suzanne said our connection team is considering doing that again, and so we will be looking at it. And it might just be a self-service thing, and like you said, we have to sign up and we ask people to do it, and hopefully they do it, but not something that we're,
Yeah.
You got to have your name tag on, kind of thing.
Well, it
So
kept me
maybe.
coming back. So
Yeah?
it was
Interesting.
a great.
That's great. Well, we're glad it did.
So if someone's not, I mean, I'm willing to do it.
Oh,
If
great.
nobody else is willing to commit to it.
Paul,
here
sign him
today.
up. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh, Veronica's got another.
Sorry, this is what inspired thought does, right? So I started clapping, and then I'm going, oh, many of you know I've been traveling a bit and have been to other Unities, and other Unities, some of them have these large corkboard kind of things on the entryway, and so you have a reusable name tag, not necessarily a magnetic one. Some of them are very artistically done. Sometimes they get redone for the holidays, so there's a whole lot of fun around that and connection, yeah.
That would be great. Yeah. Laura? And then.
It's like grabbing a flyer. It could be just like.
Oh.
It can be the same ritual as just grabbing a flyer every week. You just get to kind of get used to it.
Yeah, you just
know,
find
it's
your
get
name.
used to it being there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a chore.
Okay, so are we ready to go do a ribbon cutting? And get
Can I
one
ask
more
a
question?
question?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm Don Ellison.
Hi, Don. Hi, Don.
A little cold in the throat today.
Okay.
I was thinking about, we have the outreach in Uganda. What happened with the peace? What happened with the peace? There it goes. What happened with the peace movement last couple of years with we had in Costa Rica? We haven't heard anything about that whole movement, which is something I think David MacArthur.
Well, it was with
set
Rita
up.
Marie Johnson, right? The BPs and the trips to Costa Rica and all that.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything about that.
Well, for one thing, Rita Marie moved out of Costa Rica. She moved to California. She's been the Unity minister at the Unity of San Jose, although I think this is next month is her last month there as well. And she has been rebuilding her organization, the Resort Foundation, and the connection practice that they now call BPs. And I think it used to be called BPs, and they call it, that's what I meant. They call it connection practice now. And so she has, I believe, gotten it into a school district or something, and so she's resigning from Unity of San Jose to really put herself full-time back into the Resort Foundation. And so Oh, and she is going to be here. We are going to relook at our vision, mission, core values, which we should do every couple of years, and it's time. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago that we did it, so it's perfectly time. And we're actually going to use the connection practice as part of our process of developing our new vision, mission, core values. Yeah. So Garrett had a question. Oh, and May 19th, she'll be here giving services and a workshop. Oh, just services. Okay, yeah.
And there is once a month connection practice work done on one of the Wednesdays, led by folks that were trained in all of that.
Fourth Wednesday. Yes. Yes. If Carolyn can walk. She had a foot surgery recently, so she should be here hopefully. Yeah. Okay, anything else? What? April 7th, Sunday, April 7th, if you can put that on your calendar so you can be here, and we'll create our new vision, mission, core values with Rita Marie leading us. Okay. I'm sorry?
Rita's here in May, mission vision is in April.
That's what I said. She's doing both, Susan. She's going to be here April 7th. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to know, how many members are there currently?
Members, yeah, do we know? I think it's 400, 450, something like that. And the great thing, one of the things that we're going to be implementing that Reverend Kristen brought to us at the annual meeting is we are actually going to be doing like a recommitment, an annual membership recommitment, and that will keep besides keeping our list clean, it will also give people another chance to recommit to their own spiritual growth and the support of everyone else who are on the path with us. Do you have anything else to say about that? It'll be at the annual meeting every year? Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? All right, let's go celebrate. Yay!
You want those detailed financials?